Want to speak real Filipino from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at filipinopod101.com.
Hi everyone, kamusta? I'm Erica, and welcome to Filipino Top Words. So for today's lesson, we are going to talk about top 25 verbs that you will need when you go to the Philippines. So let's go ahead and get started. Maging, to become. Maging, to become. Maging can mean to be or to become. Mahirap maging hindi tapat sa sarili. It's hard not to be honest with yourself. Gustuhin, to like. So next word is gustuhin, to like. Nagustuhan niya ang pinadala mo. She liked what you sent. Gawin, to do. Next word is gawin, which means to do. It's easier said than done. In Filipino, we say, mas madaling sabihin kaysa gawin. And your mom will always use this because your mom always has many things that she wants you to do. Sabihin, to say. So our next verb is sabihin. In English, it can mean either to say or to tell. So for example, we want to say in English, don't tell our secret to anyone. In Filipino, you would say, huwag mong sabihin ang sikreto natin kahit kanino. Ipaliwanag, to explain. Ipaliwanag, to explain. Dapat ipaliwanag ng guro ng mabuti ang paksa. The teacher should explain the matter thoroughly. So for example, you're resting, looking at your phone, and then here comes your mom and tells you, magpaliwanag ka. Explain. This is very useful when you have to talk to your mom. Marinig, to hear. Marinig, to hear. Hindi kita marinig. I can't hear you. Again, you can use this when you're talking to your mom. Probably you can tell her, I didn't do this because I didn't hear you tell me do this. That's a very unsatisfactory answer for your mom all the time. Pumunta, to go. Pumunta, to go. So we can say, gusto kong pumunta sa Palawan. I want to go to Palawan. Tara na, biyahe tayo. Alamin, to know. Alamin, to know. Gusto kong alamin kung mas mahirap bang matutunan ang Japanese o Chinese. I want to know if it's harder to learn Japanese or Chinese. Compared to Japanese or Chinese, Filipino is easier, right? So, please take the time to study Filipino. You will take less time than studying Japanese than if you go and study Japanese or Chinese. So, you know what to learn. Kunin, to take. Kunin, to take. For example, we want to say in English, please take the bill so that we can leave already. In Filipino, what you will say is, kunin mo na ang bill natin para makaalis na tayo. So when you go to the Philippines and you eat at a restaurant and you want to ask for the check, just do this hand sign. Makita, to see. Makita, to see. Huwag kang mainis pag nakita mo. Don't get annoyed when you see it. So, what are the things that you get annoyed when you see? Dumating, to arrive. Dumating, to arrive. Dumating na ang pinakahihintay mong balita. Your long-awaited news has finally arrived. Isipin, to think. Isipin, to think. Isipin nating mabuti bago magdesisyon. Let's think of it thoroughly before making a decision. Actually, this is very important because every day of your life you have to think. Tumingin, to look. Tumingin, to look. Huwag kang tumingin sa malayo pag may kausap ka. Don't look far away when you're talking with someone. Because obviously you're talking with someone, right? How would it feel like if you're talking to this person face to face and you're looking at the side like this? Naisin, to want. Naisin, to want. I want to become an engineer rather than be a doctor. Mas nais kong maging inhinyero kaysa maging doktor. Magbigay, to give. Magbigay, to give. For example, someone asks you, oh, who can give me advice on something? And then you say, Alex gives excellent advice on whatever that is. In Filipino, how you would say it, magaling magbigay ng payo si Alex. Gamitin, to use. Gamitin, to use. So for example, I don't know where you can use actually you can use gamitin a lot. For example, let's use it in a proper sentence. Hindi natin pwedeng gamitin ang may nakasulat na bawal gamitin. So, in English, we can say, we can't use the ones which are marked don't use. I have a pretty straightforward, don't use it. Hanapin, to find. Hanapin, to find. You're asking your mom, where is this thing that I'm looking for? So she says, Pina, find it in the second drawer. In Filipino, it means, hanapin mo sa ikalawang drawer. Usually, your mom will call you Pina, according to her, if you don't use your eyes to look for things. It's very useful. So, just remember that if you are going to look for something, don't ask your mom. Because you don't know what kind of fate will befall you. You might be a pineapple at the end. Lumabas, to go out. Lumabas, or to go out. So, you want to ask permission from your parents before you go out. How do we say it in Filipino? Magpaalam ka muna sa iyong mga magulang bago ka lumabas. Ask permission from your parents before you go out. Someday, kids, you will be parents too. Magtanong, to ask. Magtanong, to ask. So, for example, you have a new office mate and you want to tell your office mate, huwag kang mahiyang magtanong kapag hindi mo alam ang sagot. In English, what you just said means, don't hesitate to ask if you don't know the answer. Magtrabaho, to work. The next verb is magtrabaho, or to work. So, for example, you want to say, as much as possible, I don't want to work overtime. In Filipino, you can tell your boss, ayaw kong magtrabaho ng overtime hanggat maaari. Mag, it's the way you conjugate verbs, but it's in Filipino. And then trabajo comes from the Spanish word trabajo. Pumasok, to enter. Pumasok, to enter. For example, you went to a club and you have a friend who looks 18, actually, who looks younger than 18, like a high school student. So you can tell this friend, you are not allowed to enter the club if you're under 18 years old. Or in Filipino, bawal pumasok sa club ang mas bata sa 18 taong gulang. Maramdaman, to feel. So next verb is maramdaman, or to feel. For example, you really are irritated with a person and you don't want the person to feel that you're irritated with him or her. So if you want to say in English, I don't want her to feel that I'm frustrated, then you would say in Filipino, ayaw kong maramdaman niya ang inis ko sa kanya. But I think you have to approach her and tell her that you are frustrated. So go ahead and tell her. Subukan, to try. Subukan. This again, some like really inspiring example sentences that we have here. You want to say to your friend, because you want to be really encouraging, why don't you try it before you say that you can't? And assuming that this friend cannot understand English, then you would have to learn the Filipino. You would say, bakit di mo subukan bago mo sabihin na hindi mo kaya? Mag-iwan, to leave. Mag-iwan. It actually means to leave something. You want to say in Filipino, mag-iwan ka ng 500 pesos or ng 500 piso para pambili ng pagkain. In English, please leave 500 pesos to buy food. Tumakbo, to run. Last verb for this lesson is tumakbo, or to run. So, for example, you are running and then you realize it's 200 meters already. So you would say, it's tiring to run more than 200 meters. And in Filipino, if you really want to say it, you would say, nakakapagod tumakbo ng higit sa 200 metro. So that's it for our lesson for today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Do you have any other Filipino verbs that you know that didn't make it to the list? Go ahead and don't hesitate. Please subscribe. Stay here until the next lesson begins.
Hi everyone, I'm Ice and welcome to Filipino Top Words. Today's lesson is going to be about 20 travel phrases you should know. So, tara na! Biyahe tayo! Pwede ba akong makakuha ng mapa? Could I get a map? Pwede ba akong makakuha ng mapa? Pwede ba akong makakuha ng mapa? Could I get a map? If you don't want to use up your roaming on your Google Maps, there's always maps in the tourist information guide. Or actually, in bookstores, you could also buy maps if you need them. Nagsasalita ka ba ng Ingles? Do you speak English? Here's another phrase you might want to learn. Nagsasalita ka ba ng Ingles? Nagsasalita ka ba ng Ingles? Do you speak English? Well, perhaps the answer to this is maybe perhaps yes. I don't know. But let's not assume. Let's not assume that everyone in the Philippines speak English, but most of us do. May bus bang galing airport papuntang syudad? Is there a bus from the airport to the city? May bus bang galing airport papuntang syudad? May bus bang galing airport papuntang syudad? Is there a bus from the airport to the city? Well, if you are flying from Manila, the airport is actually in the middle of the city, so you don't really need a bus. I wouldn't really know because my family is very nice enough to always get me from the airport if I need to be coming from the airport in the Philippines. Thank you, family! Libre ba ang Wi-Fi? Is the Wi-Fi free? In this day and age, I think this one is very important. Libre ba ang Wi-Fi? Libre ba ang Wi-Fi? This means, is the Wi-Fi free? Yeah, so like if you have your iPhone, iMac, I love you with you, then you might want to get the Wi-Fi. Meron ba kayong bakanteng kwarto ngayong gabi? Do you have any vacancies tonight? Okay, here's another phrase you might want to know when you're asking at a hotel. Meron ba kayong bakanteng kwarto ngayong gabi? Meron ba kayong bakanteng kwarto ngayong gabi? This means, do you have any vacancies for tonight? So yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't reserve beforehand at the hotel, but in case you didn't, this is a good phrase you might want to remember. Pwede bang lumipat sa ibang kwarto? Could I move to a different room? Pwede bang lumipat sa ibang kwarto? Pwede bang lumipat sa ibang kwarto? Could I move to a different room? You never know. Maybe you have noisy neighbors, or you just feel like there's someone else in the room. Let's hope not. Then you might want to ask this question. May reservation ako. I have a reservation. May reservation ako. May reservation ako. I have a reservation. Yeah, it's very simple. Easy to remember. May, it sounds like the 5th month of the year. Reservation. Reservation. Ako. Me. May reservation ako. Pwedeng makahingi ng menu? Could we have the menu, please? Okay, so here's another one that I think you will find useful and would use a lot since food is very cheap in the Philippines and you want to try a lot of restaurants. Pwedeng makahingi ng menu? Pwedeng makahingi ng menu? Could we have the menu, please? There you go. Eat to your heart's content. Try out all the restaurants you want and just don't go to McDonald's every time. Pwede bang makuha ang bill? Could I have the check? Pwede bang makuha ang bill? Pwede bang makuha ang bill? Could I have the check? So usually there's a gesture in the Philippines for the check, and it's like this. It's like a rectangle. So when you do this to the waiter or waitress, whatever, then that means you want the bill. But you could also remember this word. You could also try and remember this phrase. Pwede bang makuha ang bill? Allergic ako sa mani. I'm allergic to peanuts. Okay, here's one very important travel phrase in case you're someone like this. Allergic ako sa mani. Allergic ako sa mani. I'm allergic to peanuts. Allergic is also the same in Filipino. So you just need to find the Filipino word for the thing that you're allergic to. Like in this case, peanuts is mani. Like maybe chicken. Chicken is manok. Allergic ako sa manok. Shrimp, maybe shrimp. Allergic ako sa hipon. Anyway, if you're allergic to something and you want to find out what it is in Filipino, perhaps maybe you could just put it in the comments and we'll try to help you out. Tubig po. Water please. Here's another travel phrase you should know. Tubig po. Water please. So here po doesn't actually mean please. It's a polite particle. You add it to the sentence to make it sound polite because you want to be polite when asking for water since it's like free. You need to be polite. Magkano ito? How much is this? Magkano ito? Magkano ito? This means how much is this? So yeah, definitely travel also means you want to go shopping. So you might want to remember this phrase. How much is this? Magkano ito? So ito actually is this. So it has to be somewhere near you. Gusto ko ng 10 nito. I'd like 10 of these. Okay, so if you want not just one of something, you could try using this one. Gusto ko ng 10 nito. Gusto ko ng 10 nito. This means I'd like 10 of these. 10 means 10. So if you replace 10 with another number, then you could make any sentence you want. For example, you want, 50. 50 is 50. So gusto ko ng 50 nito. Or if you just want 3, you could say, gusto ko ng 3 nito. I don't know what these are. But if it's 10, maybe it's like some kind of souvenir, Pwede niyo ba akong bigyan ng discount? Could you give me a discount? Hey, another travel phrase you should know is, especially in the Philippines and if you wanna have some bargain, pwede niyo ba akong bigyan ng discount? Pwede niyo ba akong bigyan ng discount? Could you give me a discount? So, here's a tip when you're trying to bargain for something. You don't just ask this. You should have a price in mind that you would like to offer them back. So, it's more of like a negotiation, not like, oh, can you give me a discount? They'll probably ask you, so how much would you like to buy it for? So, you have to be prepared for that and not just ask, give me a discount. You have to name your price as well. Tumatanggap ba kayo ng credit card? Do you take credit card? Here's another phrase that you might want to know when traveling. Tumatanggap ba kayo ng credit card? Tumatanggap ba kayo ng credit card? Do you take credit card? So yeah, of course, you just have a limited cash that you exchange. Your currency for the local currency. So you might want to just spend the cash in the places that don't accept credit card, or else you might really need it somewhere that doesn't accept anything else but cash and you didn't have it. So yeah, you might want to ask this question a lot. Nasaan ang istasyon ng tren? Where's the train station? Nasaan ang istasyon ng tren? Nasaan ang istasyon ng tren? Where's the train station? There's not really much train stations in the Philippines, but there's just a few of them, maybe 20, 30, and they're only just in Metro Manila. So, but bus stations are also not that common. It's basically, maybe we should make a whole video discussing transportation in the Philippines because it's very complicated actually. It's not just hey, there's trains and stations. It's more of you need to know which buses take which route and how much it costs beforehand because anyway, you need to be a real veteran to survive Philippine public transportation. Excuse me, magkano po ang pamasahe? Excuse me, what's the fare? Here's another phrase that could be useful when you're in the Philippines. Excuse me, magkano ang pamasahe? Excuse me, magkano ang pamasahe? Excuse me, what's the fare? So, yeah, usually you might want to ask this if you don't know how much the fare is, because not for the trains you have to actually pay before going in the train, but like for buses or jeepneys or tricycles, usually there's like a sign, tiny sign, how much it costs to go from somewhere to somewhere, but like it's either very far away or you couldn't see it, so you just have to ask the driver how much the fare is. So yeah, we definitely need that whole lesson about Philippine public transportation. Pwede niyo po ba akong kunan ng litrato? Could you take a picture of me, please? Okay, here's another phrase you might want to learn when traveling. Pwede niyo po ba akong kunan ng litrato? Pwede niyo po ba akong kunan ng litrato? Could you take a picture of me, please? I don't know. If you want a group shot, then might as well ask someone to take it for you. I bet they won't run with your camera if that's what you're thinking, because that's just rude. Yeah, can be useful. So that you could have your Instagram pic later on without the selfie stick. Just kidding. Ito ba ang tamang bus papuntang airport? Is this the right bus for the airport? Ito ba ang tamang bus papuntang airport? Ito ba ang tamang bus papuntang airport? Is this the right bus for the airport? So, yeah, I guess when you're returning back, you might wanna not get lost to get to the airport, but to be honest, I don't really think there's a direct bus to the airport. Although I only have experience in Manila, and I've always been lucky enough to have my family get me there. But I guess you'd have to take a taxi. Meron ba kayong mairerekomenda? Do you have any recommendations? Meron ba kayong mairerekomenda? Meron ba kayong mairerekomenda? This means, do you have any recommendations? Yeah, if you can't really choose from the menu, then you could ask the person, meron ba kayong mairerekomenda? Usually, they would point to the most expensive thing there, so... But yeah, usually the most expensive thing is also the nicest. Okay, so that's 20 travel phrases you should know. So before going to the Philippines, try remembering these phrases so that you'd get more out of your vacation. And if you like this video, please click that like button. If you like this hat, please also click that like button. Thank you. And if you would like to have more tools, not just video lessons, but also vocabulary guides and flashcards, audio lessons, and other stuff, head on to filipinopod101.com to learn more Filipino. And I'll see you next time. Hanggang sa muli!
Want to speak real Filipino from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at filipinopod101.com.
Hi everyone! Kamusta? My name is Erica. Welcome to Filipino Top Words. For today's topic, we are going to talk about the top 25 phrases. Let's begin. Kamusta ka? Hello, how are you? The first phrase is kamusta ka? Hello or how are you? So when you're meeting someone for the first time, you try to be a bit more polite and say, instead of kamusta ka, you say kamusta po kayo, which is the same as hello, how are you? Magandang umaga. Good morning. So the next word is magandang umaga, which means good morning. People there are very, very warm, very kind. So it's very common to hear people greeting each other when they pass by each other in the corridor and in the classroom, for example, in the office. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Magandang tanghali. Good noon. So now what do we say when it's noon? We say magandang tanghali. Good noon. In the Philippines, especially during lunchtime, when you come in and then it's everyone is eating, you always say magandang tanghali. And then when they hear you say it, you sound as if you're a native speaker. Magandang hapon. Good afternoon. Okay, so when the morning is done, noon is over, then what do you say? Magandang hapon. Good afternoon. Magandang gabi. Good evening. So if you want to say good evening, you say magandang gabi. Anong pangalan mo? What's your name? So what if you're going to ask someone for their name? So you say, anong pangalan mo? Or, what's your name? If you meet someone for the first time, if it's the morning, you say, good morning, what's your name? Magandang umaga, anong pangalan mo? When you want to ask someone for their name, you need to be polite. So, you add po, which is the particle, and then you use the plural form of you. So you say, ano pong pangalan nyo? Ako si, I'm. If you are on the receiving end of that question, then you say, ako si, name. Or, I'm, name. Ako si Erica. I'm Erica. Ikinagagalak kong makilala ka. Nice to meet you. If you want to express now how happy you are to meet this new person, then you would say, ikinagagalak kong makilala ka. Nice to meet you. Since this is the first time you're meeting this person, you should use the polite form, which is, ikinagagalak ko po kayong makilala. Ayos lang ako. Ikaw. I'm fine. And you? When someone asks you, how are you? Of course, either you are okay or you're not. You will say, you are fine. So how do you say it in Filipino? You would say, ayos lang ako. Ikaw. In English, I'm fine. And you? Or if you are not okay, you can say, ayos lang ako. Ikaw. Paki. Please. So if you want to ask someone for a favor, what would you say? In English, we say please. In Filipino, we use a prefix that we say as paki. We add to another verb. So for example, we say, please bring this to the office. Then you will say in Filipino, pakidala ito sa opisina. Salamat. Thank you. Salamat or thank you. Walang anuman. You're welcome. Then you also want to be polite and say you're welcome. Or in Filipino, walang anuman. Oo. Yes. How do you express agreement in Filipino? You say oo, which means yes. Very simple. For example, there's an older person talking to you and you want to say yes. You should be a bit more polite and say opo. Hindi. No. So what if you want to say no? Then you use hindi. Or if you want to be polite, you say hindi po. Sige. Okay. So, say you have a friend who asks you, do you want to drink with me all night, have party all night, you know, those kind of things. And then you say, yeah, fine, okay. So, in Filipino, you say, sige. Paumanhin. Excuse me. So, for example, you have an older colleague at work, and this person is busy, but you need to ask her for something. So, you say, excuse me. And in Filipino, you say, paumanhin or paumanhin po, to be more polite. Patawad. I'm sorry. If you did something really, really bad, then we use patawad. I'm sorry. Anong oras na? What time is it? So what does anong oras na mean? It means, what time is it? Nasaan ang CR? Where is the restroom? Nasaan ang CR? Or, to be polite, because even at that time, you have to be polite, even if it's like really urgent. You have to be polite. You say, nasaan po ang CR? Hindi ko alam. I don't know. Hindi ko alam. I don't know. If your boss asks you, oh, where is your office mate, this person? And then you don't know, then you say, hindi ko po alam. Sandali lang. Wait a moment. So if you say to your boss, because your boss is asking you, where is the report? You want to say, wait a moment. So you say, sandali lang po. So your friends came over to your house and you haven't taken a bath. You haven't fixed yourself. And then your friends just want to go out to have fun. But you want to say, wait a moment, wait a minute. Give me like an hour or something to at least get ready. So you say, sandali lang. Magkano ito? How much is this? So you finally got dressed and then you went out with your friend. And you are at the mall, like looking at some nice pearls, because in the Philippines we have lots of pearls. How will you ask the salesperson? So you can say, magkano po ito? Or if you're a friend, or if it's like a younger salesperson probably, you can just simply say, magkano ito? How much is this? Pwede bang makuha na ang bill? Could I get the check, please? After dinner, you want to pay because it's your treat, because you forced your friends to eat adobo. So you would ask the waitress or the waiter for the check. So how do you say it in Filipino? Pwede bang makuha ang bill? Could I get the check, please? Or, if you cannot remember all these, just simply do this. Tulong. Help. So you're walking in the street and then you're very not careful with your things. So you're walking, you're holding your bag like this, and someone stole your bag. Like, oh. You want to call for help. So what do you say? You say, tulong, help. And then the more you scream it, the more people will hear you. Hanggang sa muli. See you again soon. It's the end of the day and you've had fun with your friends. So you tell your friends, oh, okay, bye. See you again soon. Which in Filipino is hanggang sa muli. But in regular conversations, you don't really say this. We tend to say, see you, or sige. That was the last word for today, and thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you learned new words. So what words have you heard? What words have you used before? Put them in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe to FilipinoPod101.com. Bye! Genki! Hi everyone! Hi everyone, I'm Erica, and welcome to Filipino Top Words. For today, we will learn the 10 phrases you never want to hear. So let's begin. Nadagdagan ba ang timbang mo nitong nakaraan? Have you gained weight recently? The first phrase you won't ever want to hear is, nadagdagan ba ang timbang mo nitong nakaraan? In English, have you gained weight recently? I don't know. I also don't like hearing it, but I don't mind it. But I don't like hearing it. This is nicely put, actually. So for Filipinos, they would ask you directly. They would not ask you. They would comment on you. Oh, you look fatter, right? Or you look bigger. So in Filipino, you got a bit bigger, or you got fatter, you became bigger, in Filipino is tumaba ka. Usually like that, like aunts, they see you, for example, you've been away for quite some time, you come back, and then your aunts will be like, oh, tumaba ka. Right? Especially in the Philippines, you get lots of food every time you go to a restaurant. And there's another thing. Usually, you have your rice, right? And then you have your meat. And then you eat your rice with your meat. And then you realize, oh, I still have some more meat left. Then you'll get another serving of rice. And then you eat your rice. And then you eat your meat. And then you realize, I don't have any more meat, but I still have rice. And then, okay, I'll get another serving of meat. And then it's like, and it happens, you know. Mayroon kang puting buhok. You have gray hair. So the next phrase that you won't ever want to hear is mayroon kang puting buhok. Or in English, you have gray hair or white. When someone tells me I have gray hair, I immediately try to have it pulled. For me, for instance, I'm always like concerned. I just want my hair to be always like this, really shiny black. And then, so we take care of it, right? Like you cover your hair also because too much sun can make your hair, what can damage your hair, like make it a bit lighter, almost brown. But I want my hair always to be black, so I'm kind of really very careful with it. Sinabi ko na sa'yo. I told you so. Sinabi ko na sa'yo. Or, I told you so. Who wants to hear this? No one, right? In any other language, no one will hear this, I think. Right? Because it just like drives your mistake into your face. Like, you did this. I told you so. You should have done this. And if you're Filipino, your immediate response would be, obvious ba? Or isn't it obvious? And just like, leave.
Like, ano nga yun?
Because Filipinos can be very sarcastic also. So they would just be like, yeah, it happened. So, nothing can be done. So, what's the point of saying, I told you so? Tanggal ka na sa trabaho. You're fired. Tanggal ka na sa trabaho. Or, you're fired. So, if you're at work, do your job properly because they're paying you. Then might as well do it, right? Hindi ikaw ang problema. Ako. It is not you. It is me. The next phrase that you don't want to hear, especially if you're splitting up, is hindi ikaw ang problema. Ako, basya, ako. Charot. Which in English is, it's not you. It is me. Okay. It's you then. If you insist, go ahead. Salamat sa pagpapadala ng iyong resume. Ngunit, ang posisyon ay napuno na. Thank you for your resume. However, the position has been filled. The next phrase that no one ever wants to hear is actually not a phrase. It's actually 2 sentences. But still, you don't want to hear or you don't want to read, right? Is, salamat sa pagpapadala ng iyong resume. Ngunit, ang posisyon ay napuno na. Or, thank you for your resume. However, the position has been filled.
Next.
But this is a nice thing actually to receive, especially if you're applying, right, for jobs, because you're not left just waiting. So at least you know, okay, this is not for me. I'm going to move on, look for another boyfriend or another girlfriend. Usually goes. Dapat tayong makipagkita sa ibang mga tao. We should see other people. The next phrase you hopefully won't hear is, dapat tayong makipagkita sa ibang mga tao. Or, we should see other people. I don't know why it's so sad. It's all about rejection. So, hopefully you don't get to experience this. Kailangan natin mag-usap. We need to talk. So, the next phrase that you don't ever want to hear is, kailangan natin mag-usap. Or, we need to talk. I think in any circumstance, this is not a nice phrase to hear, right? Whether it be your boyfriend, girlfriend, or your boss, then this is never a nice phrase to hear. So what do you do when someone tells you, we need to talk?
Mag-rosaryo ko.
Well, because we are Filipinos and we're religious, then we start praying at the rosary. Ang pangit mo. You're ugly. Next phrase that you definitely don't want to hear directed to you is, ang pangit mo. Or, you're ugly. I mean, who would say this? Is there anyone who will say this? Will anyone say this?
Super mean.
Are you a kid to say this?
Yeah.
I think only kids say this, right? And even kids nowadays are kind of a bit like politically correct. They don't really just say you're ugly. You are ugly. So if someone tells this to you, then just unfriend this person. You don't need that kind of negativity in your life. Pasensya na, nakalimutan ko. Sorry, I forgot. Pasensya na, nakalimutan ko. Which in English is, sorry, I forgot. This is very useful actually, but if it's directed to you, and for instance, the thing that was forgotten is very important, then you don't want to hear this. Say, your boyfriend to buy bread on his way home, right? And he forgot, so you don't have breakfast. So, can you eat, sorry, I forgot?
So you just break his fist.
So that's it for this lesson. Hope you learned phrases that you don't want to hear. Don't try using those phrases because otherwise you will also hear more phrases that you don't want to hear. Don't ever want to hear. So, are there any other phrase that has been said to you that you realize you don't like? If there are, please don't forget to comment them down below and don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want more lessons in Filipino, go to filipinopod101.com and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening. I hope you won't have any problems with your partners. And always stay in love because the problem is you, not me.
Want to speak real Filipino from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at filipinopod101.com.
Hi everyone! Welcome to Filipino Top Words. I'm Erica, and today we are going to learn 10 phrases for surviving back to school. Let's look at our first word, and it is backpack. In Filipino, you say backpack, right? So, if you want to say backpack, you say backpack. It's a less it's like a less a because of the K actually. It kind of sounds a bit rolled, right? So backpack. So if you want to say backpack, you say backpack. So you want to ask your friend, which is easier to carry, a backpack or a shoulder bag? Then you say in Filipino, ano ang mas madaling buhatin, backpack o shoulder bag? So the next word is kaklase, or in English, classmate. So for example, you have a very beautiful classmate in your school. So in Filipino, you would say, sikat ang maganda kong kaklase sa buong paaralan. My beautiful classmate is popular in the school. Of course, where would she be popular? She's your classmate, right? If you say my beautiful friend is popular in the school, okay, yeah, but my beautiful classmate is popular in the school. Kaklase is like a general, like I said, it's just a term for classmate, right? We don't use it for any other thing, just classmate. Okay, so the next word is takdang aralin, or homework. In Filipino, you would say, nakikita ko ang halaga ng hindi pagkopya ng takdang aralin. I can see the value of not cheating on my homework. Good for you. Okay, next word is pagsusulit. This is very important, so remember this. It might come up in your exam. Nice. Because pagsusulit means exam. So for example, you want to be really sarcastic to someone who got a high grade in their exam. So you will tell them, ang mataas na grado sa pagsusulit ay hindi nangangahulugan na matalino ka. Or in English, a high grade in the examination doesn't mean you are intelligent. Hello, Supe. I have a friend. We're really friends. But in high school, he was the valedictorian. And I don't really study in high school. But he was the valedictorian. And then now we are always telling him, you only became valedictorian because you are good at memorization. And what's nice about him is that he admits it. That's why we're still friends. The next word is summer vacation. In English, it is summer break. Actually, it's also in English, summer vacation. But when we say summer break in Filipino, we don't use the term summer break, but we use summer vacation more, right? In Filipino, you would say, masaya ang summer vacation. Summer break is fun. Actually, in the Philippines, all year round it's summer. But it's not all year round it's vacation, no. It's just summer. And usually we have summer vacation from end of March, beginning of April, in time with the Holy Week, right? And that's actually the period when we have the hottest temperature. Sometimes around 40, right? 38, 40. Yeah, so it can get really hot. But because we have lots of beaches, there's always some place where you can go. And it's pretty cheap everywhere you go. And so summer break is fun. The next word is paaralan, or school. Probably, like many people, you have high hopes for yourself. So you want to say that you want to enter into a good school. So what you say in Filipino is, gusto kong makapasok sa magandang paaralan. I want to enter into a good school. Next word is pag-aaral, or to study. Ang pag-aaral ay isang pribilehyo. In English, studying is a privilege. Whether you think of it as a privilege or as a right or as a responsibility, it's actually up to you. But hopefully you are studying hard. The next set of words are actually phrases/sentences that you will use when you go to school. Actually, you can use it also for different things. You just change some words in it. So, the first sentence is, ito ang unang araw ng klase. Or, it's the first day of class. So, you can also use it if you're working. You can say, ito ang unang araw ko sa trabaho. Or, you can also use it for many things. Like, you have a boyfriend or girlfriend. This is our first day together. So, you can say, it's our first day together. Ito ang unang araw namin. So, next sentence is, pareho tayo ng klase. Which in English is, we are in the same class. This is very useful actually if you're very enthusiastic to see your friend that you haven't seen since summer vacation. The next sentence is, anong mga klase ang kukunin mo? What classes are you taking? This, again, I think this is more applicable for college students, right? Because in the Philippines, especially, it depends on the university. But for example, the university where I went to, UP, right? Go UP. And I'm teaching English. So usually, if you want to be in the same class with your friend, then you ask, what classes are you taking? That was it for today's lesson. Hope you learned something new. That was top 10 phrases for surviving back to school. And I hope you can practice and use them with your friends, with your classmates, with your kaklase, in your classroom, while you're wearing your backpack. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with us any thoughts that you might have. Bye-bye. Thank you. Hanggang sa susunod. Mali. Hanggang sa muli.
Hi guys, welcome to Filipino Top Words. I'm Ice and today's topic is 10 phrases you always want to hear. Ang ganda mo ngayon. You look great today. Okay, the first phrase is, ang ganda mo ngayon. You look great today. This is kind of a double-edged sword because if you say, you look great today, did they look not great yesterday? But still, it's nice to hear, I guess. Ganda mo ngayon. Makeup ka. Miss na kita. I miss you. Next phrase is, miss na kita. I miss you. If you're away and they say I miss you, then that's fine, I guess, because like you're not together. But if someone says you and you've been hanging out like every day, that means something else. Like you're there but not there kind of thing. So see for yourself. So if you want to say that I really miss you, then you just say miss na kita. May bonus sa katapusan ng buwan. There'll be a bonus at the end of the month. Okay, the next phrase that you always want to hear is, may bonus sa katapusan ng buwan. There will be a bonus at the end of the month. Yeah, this one, you'd want to hear this. Especially if you're like, not good with the bills. Napakagaling mong magluto. You're an excellent cook. Napakagaling mong magluto. You're an excellent cook. If you know how to cook, unlike me, and you give your friends some of the things you cook, and they say this to you, then always want to hear that. Yeah. Magpahinga ka. Ako ang maglilinis ngayon. Take a break. I'll do the cleaning today. Magpahinga ka. Ako ang maglilinis ngayon. Take a break. I'll do the cleaning today. Oh, yeah. Like, guess if you hear this, that would be very great as well. I need help with the cleaning. Tama ka. You were right. Okay, another thing you might want to hear is tama ka. Or you were right. Yeah, I guess you want to hear this when you're in an argument. Dinalhan kita ng isang special na bagay. I brought you something special. Next one is, dinalhan kita ng isang special na bagay. That means, I brought you something special. I want something special. Unlimited ang budget. The budget is unlimited. Next phrase you would want to hear is, unlimited ang budget. Or, the budget is unlimited. Definitely, if you want like a bunch of equipment and they say to you, the budget is unlimited. Like, yeah! Ililibre kita. I'll treat you. Next one is ililibre kita, meaning I'll treat you. So nice. Oh, many Filipinos love hearing this. So if you want to make Filipino friends, make sure to say this. Yeah. Ang bait mo. You're kind. Ang bait mo, meaning you're kind. Sometimes it's nice to know that your kindness is being appreciated. So if someone says this to you, then you'll feel happy, I guess. If you want to convey that they're very kind, just repeat the adjective. So it's gonna be ang bait-bait mo. So that means you're very kind. Okay, and that's it for this topic. 10 phrases you always want to hear. And if you like this video, press the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel somewhere. To learn more Filipino, please go to filipinopod101.com. And I'll see you next time. Salamat, thank you, paalam.
Hi, I'm Erica, and welcome to Filipino Top Words. Today we are going to learn 10 phrases to amaze native speakers. Salamat, pero sa totoo lang, hindi ako isang native speaker. Thank you, but I'm not a native speaker actually. Salamat, pero sa totoo lang, hindi ako isang native speaker. Thank you, but I'm not a native speaker actually. If you start learning now, you'll be one of those few foreigners who can amaze Filipinos. Isang taon lang ang kinailangan ko para maging mahusay sa pagsasalita. It took me only 1 year to become fluent. Isang taon lang ang kinailangan ko para maging mahusay sa pagsasalita. It took me only 1 year to become fluent. So I don't know how easy actually Filipino is for foreign people. I don't know if in 1 year you'll be able to speak it. Probably the basics of it, right? Because Filipino, you don't really need to learn new alphabet. And also, some of the words are in Spanish. So if you kind of know Spanish, then you would most probably understand some of the words. But for you to be able to speak 1 year, I think is fine. But for you to be able to actually understand all the nuances in the language, then 1 year is probably a bit too short. Makakapagsalita ako ng Filipino gaya ng isang Pilipino sa loob ng 3 taon. I'll speak Filipino like a native speaker in 3 years. Makakapagsalita ako ng Filipino gaya ng isang Pilipino sa loob ng 3 taon. I'll speak Filipino like a native speaker in 3 years. That's actually a good target, right? But of course, there's still so many things that you won't be, probably inside jokes, right? Or especially since Filipino language is, like any other language, is continuously evolving, right? Because we have lots of slang now, right? Like slang that you get from American slang, and then also gay lingo, right? So all of those words, and then usually when you learn Filipino, you won't get to hear those slang or street words. And most people actually use a bit of casual, even in, they only use really formal Filipino in, say, formal situations, formal settings. So this is a good target, but good luck. 10 taon na akong nag-aaral ng Filipino. I've been learning Filipino for 10 years. 10 taon na akong nag-aaral ng Filipino. I've been learning Filipino for 10 years. It's actually very good. I mean, for us, English, we take so many years, and still there's some things that you cannot understand. So for instance, we learn English, standard English, right? And then you talk to, say, an American or to a British person. And then there are so many words that you cannot understand. But you cannot understand them because these are but it's the usage of the words is different from how you learned it from the dictionary. Sometimes when you speak to them, you sound so formal. 10 years is very good. Kaya kong manood ng mga pelikulang Filipino nang walang subtitle. I can watch Filipino movies without subtitles. Kaya kong manood ng mga pelikulang Filipino nang walang subtitle. I can watch Filipino movies without subtitles. We are releasing so many indie movies recently. Those are really good movies, so please watch Filipino movies. And if you can see them without subtitles, very good. Kaya kong magkabisa ng higit kumulang mga 50 bagong salitang Filipino kada araw. I can memorize around 50 new Filipino words a day. Kaya kong magkabisa ng higit kumulang mga 50 bagong salitang Filipino kada araw. I can memorize around 50 new Filipino words a day. Oh, that's very impressive. I don't have memories. Masaya at madaling aralin ang Filipino. Filipino is fun and easy to learn. Masaya at madaling aralin ang Filipino. Filipino is fun and easy to learn. Yeah, which actually it is, right? It's I think it's easier compared to, say, Japanese or Chinese. Because as I've said, first, Filipino, you don't need to learn new alphabet, which immediately makes it easy, right? Because learning a new alphabet is very hard, right? I mean, if you say, for example, walk in the streets and then you can read the signs, that's already something. Because, say, you go to Japan, then you see all the signs and you cannot read kanji or hiragana or katakana, right? Then you cannot, it's like as if you're lost. But at least with Filipino, then you can immediately read the signs. And then the next thing is, you learn the words. Naintindihan ko ang lahat ng sinabi mo. I completely understood everything you said. Naintindihan ko ang lahat ng sinabi mo. I completely understood everything you said. Yeah, so when someone tells you this, then they're amazed. Yeah, so that's why they're just like, oh, great. So, for example, someone tells you this very long explanation about something. Then, as a Filipino, you can simply say, gets ko. Because that's very Filipino actually, which means, I got it. Marami akong alam na slang sa Filipino. I know a lot of slang words in Filipino. Marami akong alam na slang sa Filipino. I know a lot of slang words in Filipino. It depends also when you use the slang words, because not in all circumstances can you use slang words, right? Especially if you're just meeting someone for the first time, then you would want to be a bit more formal. Then becoming too formal is not natural. It can be seen as sarcastic even. Actually, I think the key to being thought of as fluent is like getting this balance of being like casual, natural, and also a bit like more formal, right? I think so. Nakakabasa na ako ng nobela sa Filipino. I can now read a novel in Filipino. Nakakabasa na ako ng nobela sa Filipino. I can now read a novel in Filipino, which is very good. If you read actual like old Filipino novels, it's very, what do you call this, like flowery. It's like it really evokes emotions when you read Filipino novels. It's actually hard to write in really, say, old poetic Filipino now. So that's it for today's Filipino top words. What sentence would you say to amaze us? But actually, we're easily amazed, so don't hesitate to write anything down below. Or comment, because you might comment negative things, right? Okay. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to see other videos like this, then head on to filipinopod101.com. See you in the next lesson.
Naintindihan ko ang lahat ng sinabi mo.
Marami akong alam. Inay, ito na po ang inyong pansit. Na binili ko sa kanto. Inay, wag mo akong iwan, inay.